Roll the ad. This podcast is sponsored by Restream. Why live stream to one platform when you can simultaneously live stream to every platform to discover new audiences faster using Restream.io?
Your daily drop on gaming, live streaming, and social media today is subscription revenue, Facebook gaming versus Twitch versus YouTube. Happy Monday, Mr. Perrin, Mr. Wall. Are you guys ready to talk a little cash money?
Cash money in the bank. Oh yeah, let's go. Let's talk about that revenue cut. It is disgusting. We're not going to hold it out here. Facebook's giving you 100%, YouTube's giving you about 70% or less, and Twitch is taking up to 50% of your subscription revenue. Perrin, how does that make you feel?
It's complicated. There's too much math on Monday morning. But the reason I wanted to talk about this topic today was because specifically of Facebook. Facebook pulled a big move like they've been doing over and over again. And I've noticed this on my creator dashboard. I had not seen like a media press release anywhere about this. It's like a secret thing. But there's been an update on revenue share starting August, which is this month, and for the next entire year, Facebook Gaming will not be taking any fees from fan subscriptions. Previously, they were taking a 30% cut. Now they are saying for at least a year, they will be taking a 0% cut. Now, this sounds great, and this is great. I'm assuming they're doing this to stimulate growth, but you also have to keep in mind that if you subscribe to a Facebook gaming creator on an iPhone or an Android phone, you're still losing out a cut to Apple and to Google. So previously, if you were to subscribe with their 30% cut through Google or through Apple, you were losing more than this 30%. You were losing quite a bit. But now at max, you'll be losing 30% if someone subs from a mobile device. You get 100% if you subscribe from a PC, which is awesome.
100%. So obviously streamers that have made it bigger, they do tell their audience, look, if you buy from desktop, I get all the money possible for a subscription. Also, if you just directly donate, you get more of the money through that method. And what's disgusting is we kind of talk about the math here. In any case, if you subscribe to any creator using your mobile phone, so if you're going through the App Store or you're going through Google Play Store, those marketplaces are going to take 30% of the money away from creators and from you creators that are watching whenever people subscribe through their mobile app, on top of the cut that the platform's taking, on top of what platforms like YouTube do, which they take local taxes and fees out too. And so if you're looking at, let's say $5, I mean, with everybody dipping their hand in the pot, in some scenarios, you could be looking at, only putting, $2.50, maybe sub $2.50, less than 50% in your pocket sometimes. That is disgusting. And so let's break down the math on a per platform basis. First, starting with Facebook Gaming. How long is this 100% of the revenue goes into your pocket as a creator thing going to last? I think they're claiming 1 year right now, Perrin, but do we believe that? Do we believe they're going to revert it to a revenue cut in the future? Let's just give creators our best guess based on our knowledge of the industry in terms of Facebook gaming.
I think there is a good potential that they'll continue it a little longer. They're doing this, in my mind, clearly to promote growth on their platform. And they really need to do something competitive versus Twitch. And if they hit where Twitch is weakest, and we'll get to Twitch's cut in a moment, but that is one area where they're weakest is the platform. If they hit there, that's a good spot to hit them. If they see that this works for growth, I am willing to bet, and we're going to see decent Facebook gaming growth in the next year or so. So this is likely that they will continue at least for 1 year after that. Once they start kind of maturing as a platform and they get really competitive, then they might go back to a 30% cut, or maybe they never will. Time will tell, but I think it's likely we'll see them continue this even after 1 year because they're going to see good growth off of it. You're muted.
Good boss.
Muted. No, it all depends on what Facebook's ultimate goals are with their platform. Aren't they just doing the gaming thing just to do user acquisition? Are they doing the gaming thing just to keep people on Facebook? Is it necessarily about the direct revenue that gaming will generate through things like subscriptions and, fan subscriptions and through stars and what have you? We don't know if that's actually their goal. I would venture to say that Facebook probably cares about new user, new viewer acquisition more, and they care more about keeping people on Facebook for a long period of time than taking a cut from creators at the moment. And I'm hoping that that always remains as their top objective on the platform. I hope that they just want to keep people watching. They just want to keep people on Facebook. They want to keep them off of their competitors' apps, and that they can continue to have extremely favorable revenue shares as a way to compete. I mean, this is great for the market. Now in the market, we have a 100% option Facebook, a 70%-ish option YouTube, and a 50% option Twitch. And now creators can choose which one they want to dedicate to. If it weren't for competition, we wouldn't have this situation right now. We were just saying it earlier. Thank God for Facebook Gaming. If Facebook Gaming wasn't doing this, I mean, creators, you would be getting a minimum of 30% taken out, up to 50% of your revenue. And YouTube, who knows, maybe they would even fall in line and do 50% at some point. I mean, without competition, there's no factors driving your success and your financial well-being. And I see that you pulled up the YouTube article here in terms of YouTube revenue share. Can you run us through that? Because it's a little bit more complicated in the case of YouTube.
So with YouTube, you've got channel memberships, and creators receive 70% of membership revenue after applicable taxes and fees are deducted. So all transaction costs, including credit card fees, are currently covered by YouTube. I mean, I looked around. They said what I could find is this meant local sales tax, and it wasn't clear on who's local, the viewers, or the subscriber, or the creator. But it's supposed to just be a local sales tax. So it ends up being a little bit more than, or creators receive a little bit less than 70%. But this was the cut that Facebook was doing, and that they just have now gone down so they can compete versus YouTube as well. And you can see why this move maybe made sense. Instead of vying on the same level of YouTube, Facebook Gaming is close in numbers to kind of competing with YouTube in terms of live viewership, not video viewership, but live viewership they are. So this is also a good play versus YouTube as well. YouTube's is, I don't know. I would assume YouTube, you were talking about this earlier. Well, they suffer from the Google Apple cut via mobile as well. Do they not?
They do. All of them suffer from the Google Apple cut via mobile. So if you're on YouTube, it can get very complicated. I'll try to make it simple, and let me know if this is simple enough for you guys. I want Ross to say, yes, that made sense to me, given that he's feeling terrible today after I explain it. All right. So here's 100% of the pie. Here's 100% of the pie you could be making on YouTube. Right out the gate, 30% of that pie taken away, YouTube eats it. You're left with 70%. If somebody decides to subscribe to you through a mobile device, of that 70% of the pie that's left, 30% of that is taken. So you slice that off, take that away, and then Google or Apple eats that. So you're left with maybe 50% of the pie left. Then on top of that, there are local taxes and fees. Let's say those can be 5 to 10%. So you slice a little bit more of that off. So you're left with maybe 45-ish% of the money on YouTube. That's a bad scenario if somebody subscribes to you through YouTube using the mobile phone and channel memberships. But wait, there's more. If there's an MCN involved, a multi-channel network, broadband TV, or Freedom Network, or any of the other folks that are out there, if they've negotiated to take a percentage of your revenue too, of that 45% that's left in the end, I mean, maybe they're cutting off another piece. Maybe you're down to 35% of your revenue, 40% of your revenue. So YouTube can be complicated. Don't be fooled by this idea that you're getting 70% of the revenue and that's better than Twitch necessarily. In the scenarios that I described, with all of those people cutting out a slice of your pie and taking a piece of your revenue, you could be left with less than 50% on YouTube, depending on what the scenario is. Mobile devices, local fees and local taxes, and MCN taking a piece of that pie from you. We did an episode with M&J TV, remember guys, where he was talking about how YouTube super chats and subscription revenue, he saw his numbers in Streamlabs. He was like, hell yeah, I made $1,000 just as an example. And then he looked at his paycheck that he got from at the end of the day, and it was like $48. It's like, what the F just happened? And he's a 1 million subscriber YouTuber. So there are no custom deals here, or there are rarely custom deals here for YouTubers. Did that description make sense, guys? I mean, I just really wanted to lay out how complicated YouTube can be and how you could be taken advantage of. What are your thoughts on that, Ross? I mean, do you feel like... I mean, to me, that makes YouTube a lot less attractive.
It does. Well, and first of all, let me thank you for using the pie metaphor. That really helped me, as you can tell. But yeah, it makes it really difficult, and it makes you wonder. So, if you have so many other options like Patreon and from Amazon affiliates, all these other ways that we've talked about how you can make money, is the subscription worth it on YouTube and Twitch anymore? I mean, honestly, is it?
You can convince your following to subscribe from a PC. It's going to help you a lot. You can, and if you don't join an MCN, it's going to help you a lot. So if you can cut out the kind of the two bigger, larger cuts, so you're only dealing with YouTube's cut and the sales tax, you're doing the best services you can. Now, obviously, you can't control where people subscribe to you, but to a degree, you can at least talk about and entice them and explain to them, hey, if you want to give more of your money to me, if you just want to support me and you don't want to pay Apple and you don't want to pay Google whenever you support me, do this. And you might be able to slate over some of your following to subscribe from a laptop or a PC or something like that to help out. But YouTube clearly has the most additional factors that can come in and affect your revenue. And that is worrisome as a creator, that there are that many X factors that you might not have total control over that take away your money. Compare that to something. Let's go to Twitch now. Are we ready to do Twitch, guys?
Yeah, let's go. Cut over there, man. Pull it up on the screen.
Yeah, let's do Twitch. So now Twitch, straight out the gate, Twitch just takes 50%, just takes half of all your subscription revenue, but there's no additional hassle here. And as you mature and become more popular, you can rework your deal to go anywhere from 60 to 100%. I don't know if I've ever heard of someone do 100%. That's probably reserved for your Dr. Disrespects, your,
not anymore. Sorry, Doc.
But yeah, is the better streamer you are, the better cut you can get. But 50% out the gate, I mean, that's half the pie gone right there. That's half of your work goes to Twitch. And Twitch, I mean, since they're the #1 juggernaut platform, they can continue to do this. This is why the other platforms are kind of going to this point, the price point, to be able to maybe be competitive, because taking 50% of the pie from a creator, that's quite a bit of chunk of change.
That makes sense. But one factor to keep in mind here with Twitch revenue is that obviously, yeah, your percentage can increase, and it's not unrealistic as you become a mid-tier streamer to expect 70% or maybe even 80% of the revenue as a big streamer. That's not unreasonable at all. I've seen people have showed me their cuts before on creator calls. But one thing to keep in mind is that Twitch is so much better monetized than the other platforms in terms of the viewership that's there and the ability to give people subscriptions, gift subs. Also, it used to be called Twitch Prime subs. I guess we'll call it Amazon Gaming subs now. No, Prime Gaming subs now. So those two features can really increase your sub numbers. Also, they have tiered subs, which YouTube has now implemented. I think Facebook is also looking at this, where you can give more than $4.99. You can give $10.99. You can give, blah, blah, blah. You can give $9.99. You can give a higher amount of money. And so those monetization opportunities are many. Basically, you have a free one if you're on Amazon. You have ones that you can gift people, which is great. So whoever's in chat, there's always somebody in chat that has a lot more money than everybody else, right? Just like there's people in real life that have a lot more money than everybody else. Their generosity can be your extra subs, which is amazing. I know recently, Perrin, you got a big bunch of gift subs on your Twitch account. That's great. It's great when people gift those subs, and it makes everybody happy. I think it's one of the best features of Twitch. And then the third part is obviously subscribing on a multi-tiered basis. But the biggest thing about Twitch, I think even beyond all of the ways that they make it easy to subscribe to somebody's channel, is that Twitch viewers, they just sub. They're engaged. They give you money. Like a higher percentage of Twitch viewers are ready to sub because that is a part of Twitch culture. Whereas on Facebook, not as much. On YouTube, a little bit for sure, but not quite as much. And so Twitch, you might be getting a lower percentage, but the size of your pie could be much larger because of the streaming culture and most importantly, the viewer culture that's on Twitch. You don't have to tell people to sub on Twitch. They already know. They're going to ask you where your sub button is. They're going to ask you where your donate is. Like they want to give you money and they're going to be pushing to give you money because they're conditioned to do that. And that is one of the greatest advantages of Twitch is that you have lots of, let's call them prime buyers, warm leads, hot leads, whatever term you want to use to give you money. And I think that it really does offset a lot of the downsides of Twitch's super heavy-handed revenue share. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. So the verdict is not in yet on the other platforms. And I'm not really sure about YouTube so much as I am more sure about Facebook. Look at this from the viewer's perspective. There is a perceived value in terms of for subscribing. And the value clearly on Twitch is understandable. And it is valuable enough for many, many viewers to want to subscribe. And they feel like they get enough in return. They get to join a part of that streamer's culture by doing it. They get access to emotes, which Twitch, out of all the other platforms, still does emotes the best. And there's multiple different ways in which you can get subs. You can access this for free. They do deals where there's 20% off subscribing sometimes. You can get a gifted sub, so you don't always necessarily have to pay. You can tier up, like you said. There's a lot of perceived value from the viewer's side on subscribing on Twitch. I don't think on Facebook Gaming yet the viewers perceive much value there. As a Facebook gamer streamer myself, I have a hard time selling the value of Facebook Gaming because people are like, well, what do I get? Whereas on Twitch, no one asks what you get. They know, they understand inherently already because it's been around for so long what they're getting.
That's so true. They aren't asking like, what the F is a Facebook star? Like you don't have to tell them. They like don't. And what is a fan subscription? This is new. It's going to take years for people to truly understand these sorts of new terminologies. And Twitch has been around for so long. A Twitch sub is easy to understand. YouTube is starting to get there now with things like super chats and channel memberships. I actually think the wording of a channel membership is really weak. I think the wording of a fan subscription on Facebook Gaming is really weak. And Twitch kind of took the best word for this, subscriptions or subs, for their platform, and it's just easy to understand. It's just like subscribing to any other platform. And that's what's weird about YouTube. When you subscribe to a channel on YouTube, you don't give them money. You're just following. And on Facebook, forget about it. There's like likes plus followers plus all this other crap. So it's actually difficult to communicate about these things because people are going to ask, like, how do I sub to your channel? Well, sub means something different on all three platforms, or it means nothing in the case of Facebook's platform. So Twitch has the advantage there in terms of people's familiarity with the feature.
Do you think if your audience and just the general users knew about how much of this cut and then everything else that you've added on top of this, especially on Twitch, do you think they would be less likely to actually subscribe to a channel?
Probably
on
not.
Twitch?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Taryn. Go ahead.
Yeah, not on Twitch. I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty clearly aware what the cut is on Twitch by now. I do think it helps to communicate what's going on with Facebook. I do think it's strong to say on Facebook, and I tried this out over the weekend, and it did net me a couple new supporters, but I tried saying, hey, so now if you support me and subscribe on Facebook from a PC, 100% of your money supports me. Facebook doesn't take a cut. Google or Apple aren't jumping in there to do anything either. You actually directly 100% support me. And I think that's a good way to sell it. But like I said, the verdict is still out on like the value in return, because it's not just about the value of a viewer supporting the streamer. That's a part of it. Part of it is also, what am I getting access to? What can I do that's going to be new and cool that I can interact and engage with as a feature by doing this? And Twitch is so clear, but in every other platform, it's really not so clear yet still.
Okay. Oops, Stream Deck. There we go. Okay, that makes sense. We'll have to see how this shakes out. I mean, the other factor here too is, and this is just my own user behavior, and I assume a lot of other people are like this. One of the channels I subscribe to through channel memberships is Internet Today, one of my favorite YouTube channels. And I do channel memberships with them because it was easy for me to click the button and then just to leave it there and know that I'm just giving them money each and every month without me having to think about it, because I just want to give them money. I don't care about the perks. And so I think that's another factor here too. For example, with Dr. Disrespect and his giant spike in subs on YouTube, he's got like 10,000 plus right now. I think a lot of people just wanted to sub to him on YouTube just to make sure they're giving Dr. Disrespect money. They don't forget about it. They don't have to do the extra work to come in there and donate and stop by and throw something in the tip jar. They just want to make sure that they know their credit card and their money's on lock for that creator each and every month, and it's just set it and forget it. I love that about channel memberships on YouTube in particular, because I use YouTube more than any other platform, and it's just a really fast and easy way for me just to give somebody for some freaking money. So I think the ease of supporting a creator is huge, and you should not underestimate that, and you should not discourage that from your viewers. So I want to make sure that we walk away from this telling people that don't tell people not to give you subscriptions or super chats or bits. In fact, thank them for that and give that just as much clout and just as much gratitude as off-platform options such as direct donations and Patreon. The more options you give your audience to give you money on a regular basis, the more money you're going to make. And bonus tip here at the end of the episode, the more you tell them what that means to you and what the money is going to do for you, paying for your internet, getting you a new camera, helping you get a new PC, helping you do what you love for a living, the more you can tell them what the money actually means beyond the number, the more they'll want to subscribe and the more money they'll want to give you as well. So really quick, I want to cover quickly, Perrin, I know that you run the #1 course on how to grow and be successful on Patreon. You're the marketer for that. Let's talk about Patreon versus these subscription options and the advantages or disadvantages there really quick, because some creators just completely skip the on-platform option. I'm thinking about Yang. Yeah, he does that. He doesn't do channel memberships. He just goes straight to Patreon, right? So why would you decide to do that or not versus all these others?
I mean, with Patreon, this whole episode is pointless because you can just control what your tiers are, how much they are, and what you offer. Like, you have Patreon gives you the complete control over your subscription revenue. And it's been shown numerically with creator data that whenever you go to Patreon, you lose this volatility that you have from, let's say, Twitch. And like Twitch, you have volatility like month by month. Whenever let's say someone comes in with like 100 gifted subs, the next month you lose that 100 gifted and you may not get it back. So your monthly revenue fluctuates. Patreon is way more stable, and it's found that you activate your best, truest fans there to support you. So it's consistent month by month. It's the most consistent monthly revenue. And Patreon is the one platform that kind of turns this into an actual career because you have reliable monthly income. But you can control your tiers, you can control the pricing of it, and you can control pretty much everything. So it's removing the ability for these platforms to dictate what that cut is. Now, what I don't recall, and I have to look real quick, is what Patreon's cut is. So I'm going to take a look. But
it's a base. It's a base of.
What was that experience like for you there?
It's a base of 90%. Plus, depending, like the smaller dollar amounts, they take an extra cut off of that. And as you move to the higher dollar amounts, the cut becomes lesser over time. So it used to be 90-10 flat across the board. And now I think the cut that they take ranges between 5 to 12% somewhere in there. And with the lower dollar amounts, it could actually be much higher, which actually discourages you from doing things like $1 tiers or $3 tiers on Patreon and going higher dollar tiers. Ross, what you got?
I was actually just going to ask exactly that. I was going to ask what Patreon's cut is, because I think that's important to know since we're talking about the rest of them. But it sounds like it's just leaps and bounds better as compared to a subscription service with Twitch or YouTube.
Yeah, it's better. There's also a processing fee. So the reason why smaller donations or smaller dollar amounts don't do as well on Patreon is they have to do a transaction processing fee. And they had to change this over recently because Patreon at first could just do a 90-10 across the board. But then once they looked at the numbers, they realized they were losing a lot of money processing a lot of tiny $1 payments. So they had to change their payment structure so that they weren't losing money off of these small donations. And so now the processing fee is built in there into those smaller dollar amounts. And so anyway, for anybody building a Patreon strategy, I don't recommend having a $1 tier for this reason. I recommend going $5 or higher. And if you guys want a great resource for how to learn how to grow on Patreon, they don't pay me to say this. What is it, Perrin? Is it creator? What is Peter Hollins's website that people can go to? It's literally the best Patreon course out there. Here it is. It's Creator Education. Yeah. CreatorEducation.com. There you go. Peter Hollins, I can't disclose to you how much money he makes on Patreon, but it's a lot of money, okay? A whole lot of money. He's one of the
biggest creators on Patreon. Yeah. He works directly with the CEO and a lot. In fact, in his course, he actually brings in the CEO of Patreon and they talk and he helps teach one of the lessons. So it's the best course there is if you are interested in Patreon. I would definitely keep that as a medium level creator thing. So like get started as a creator somewhere else. Don't go all in on Patreon in the beginning of your creator journey. You need to try to build up true fans from somewhere before you head over here. But if you wanted to learn more, shameless self-promotion, how to master Patreon is a great course. Ross,
full disclosure, Perrin actually markets this course, but it really is the best course. I coach this creator, Peter Hollins. Ross, any other closing thoughts? Otherwise, we need to get the hell out of here.
We need to get out of here. This was your daily drop. Full replays. Go over to YouTube. You can watch the full video, highlight reel, whatever. Again, listen to us. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We will be back tomorrow. Happy creating. AWOL, I feel like we're missing something here about maybe something that they could do to be part of all these subscription services at the same time by doing one simple thing.
Hey guys, thank you for joining me here in my studio. You know what, Ross? I think you're absolutely right. You could be restreaming using restream.io. Right now we're live on Twitch, DLive, Facebook, Trovo, YouTube, Periscope, and we're talking to all you guys right here on this chat monitor, watching every comment, chatting with you guys today. Link in the description below and our bio and our about section to join the restreaming revolution, restream.io. We love it. We use it. We recommend it. $10 off your first month if you click our link. Also, you can use code DROP25, DROP25 with no space, DROP25 with no space if you want to get 25% off on top of that. Why stream in one place and just get subs from one location that's going to suck all your money out when you could stream everywhere and maybe run a Patreon strategy? See you later. Bye-bye.